Triplets. They're reminded of their ordeal every time they look in the mirror. Can they erase the marks of a past that changed them physically and emotionally? Deborah Roberts is with them as they try again right in front of our cameras.
For Chandra, Trey, and Jordan Burns, a trip to the mall means raking through racks and turning heads.
This is cute.
Who wouldn't stare at these beautiful faces?
A lot of people look at us. I don't know if it's because we're triplets, because we do kind of look alike.
Kind of look alike, just a little bit, yes.
A little bit.
Identical 23-year-old Texas triplets, they've spent a lifetime catching the eyes of strangers. But they're never sure if it's because of their matching features or something else they share. Beneath the hair and makeup, each girl is covered in scars. Burns on their chests, backs, arms, hands, and faces.
When you see something different, it's hard not to look. So, we don't blame anybody for looking or whispering or wondering.
What happened to the three girls? It's said that every scar has a story. For the Burns triplets, that story begins with innocence and joy. It was 1987 when they were born amidst local fanfare to proud parents Patty and Scott.
Who's the oldest?
I am.
By how much?
By 30 seconds.
And the youngest?
I am. I'm
By-
the baby.
You're the baby.
Mm-hmm.
The triplets, dressed from day one in matching outfits, were so close they'd climb into a single crib at night, sleeping in each other's embrace. That's where they were in the fall of 1988, 17 months old, when their house was suddenly and inexplicably engulfed in flames. Their father, Scott, rescued them through their bedroom window. Their mom, Patty, was found lying unconscious in the back room. Patty's mother, Sue, remembers racing to the hospital.
They were so bad that we didn't know whether they were going to live or not. It was horrible, just very traumatic.
The triplets clung to life while their mother lay in critical condition from smoke inhalation.
Patty was, we didn't think she was going to make it, which she didn't, Our hearts were, just broken.
Patty, just 27 years old, died 3 days later. The girls, too young to understand their enormous loss, continued their own battle to survive.
Here's these precious 3 little babies, not just one. There's 3 all of a sudden. It's tough. It's tough seeing.
Physical therapist Donna Crum treated the triplets.
Anytime you have a very young infant and that severe of an injury, it is definitely life-threatening. That's one of the difficult things, is trying to get them through those first few weeks.
Miraculously, the girls would survive despite third-degree burns on a third of their bodies. Chandra had the most severe injuries.
What I've been told is that I probably, got on top and was on top of the girls in the crib, so I got burned the worst.
They spent weeks in the hospital and then were sent home with their father. The girls' smiles here for the camera hid a recovery process that was long and agonizing, physically and mentally. Years of surgeries, skin grafts, facial masks, and stretching exercises.
It's probably one of the most painful things that anyone could have or experience on a daily basis.
They had to wear these compression suits he made for them, and it was just horrible trying to put them on them because they would cry, it would hurt.
Do you remember the pain of healing? You had to go through a lot of painful treatment.
We are very lucky we don't remember any of the pain that we went through.
But the emotional scarring lived on in the loss of their mom, a void their grandmother tried desperately to fill.
They could see that she's a beautiful young woman. I think they looked just like her, But they didn't seem to want to ask much about her.
I didn't know anything different. We don't know how it is to have a mom, so it was just life to us.
Life for the triplets also meant coping with disfiguring burns and perhaps even more damaging, cruel reactions when they stepped outside.
There were the children who, would say mean things or make fun of us.
Got you. I gotcha.
Kids, pointed and stared.
Their sanctuary was 1 week a year at a special camp for children with burns, where they could row boats, ride horses, and swim. away from prying eyes.
Nobody asks questions or judges you or anything, and you're just really carefree.
At home, it was a different story.
I remember one time we were at this public pool swimming, and this mother, her kids were playing with us in the pool, and she grabbed her kids up and she was like, don't play with these kids, you know, this is what happens when you play with fire.
That had to be crushing.
Mm-hmm.
In high school, ignoring the stares became increasingly difficult. The girls began wearing heavy makeup and long sleeves.
We just started to feel a little bit more self-conscious and started noticing, you know, if people were talking about us.
I've always told them, don't worry about what people think. Just wear short sleeves and let them look if they want to, you know. But they just couldn't do it.
Even with their scars concealed under clothes, ugly taunts came their way.
What kinds of things would people say because your last name happens to be Burns?
Yeah. Like this one girl, I remember she said, you know, your last name suits you well. You know, just rude things like that.
In their teen years, when their friends began dating, the triplets did not.
They just say, well, I'll never have anybody. I'll never have a boyfriend. They just thought that, you know, nobody would want them with scars.
If we had a little crush on some guy, it would get back to us, oh yeah, he thinks you're pretty, but you know, you have burns. You would be pretty if you didn't have burns. That was a little
pretty mean.
Yeah, it was pretty mean.
But adapting to scars and stares was only part of the girls' high school challenges. At 16, they lost their father, who died of a drug overdose.
He did, you know, battle with substance abuse, and of course that's hard for anyone to deal with.
Suddenly, orphans, their father's death sparked questions of a dark, shocking past the family rarely discussed. The fire that killed their mother was no accident. It was arson.